Right. So if we just take a look at Arsenal's track record thus far, they have played 9 games in the Premier League, 7 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss, 16 goals scored, 3 goals conceded, a goal difference of plus 13. And if we go to the Champions League, 3 games played, 3 wins, 8 goals scored, none conceded. And the other competition that they are in is the EFL Cup, and even then they have 2 wins in that. I'm not going into that over here, but you can understand where they are. Now I'm also going to do a quick breakdown of each of the games Arsenal have played so far. This is being recorded on the day when Arsenal are due to play Burnley at Turf Moor. Now, straight off the bat, this was the opening game of the season, and if you look at the stats, let's go here first. Man United actually outplayed Arsenal for majority of the game, and I feel that they should have at least deserved a draw, if not more, from this game. If you look at the average positioning of the team as well, this was Man United's positioning, this was Arsenal's positioning. This was probably the deepest that I have seen Arsenal's backline in all of the games that they have played so far. When we go to the stats, you can see that Man United had better XG than Arsenal, 1.52 to 1.31. However, they had no big chances, and a majority of their XG is calculated from the fact that they have 22 shots on target, on goal, but they couldn't really make a whole lot out of it. If you see the on target ones, it's just one, two, three. I think there's another one in here. Four, five, six, seven, maybe at best. So wasn't much to write home about. Yeah, that's it. 7 shots on target. This is the average attack map as well. So that should tell you what it was like for both teams. This is United. This is Arsenal. So it was the cancelling out in the middle of the park mostly. And Arsenal were very fortunate that they managed to get this goal early on through a set piece, and that was enough to see the game out. They also have to Lord David Raya as well. He made 7 saves, so that was massive. If you go to the next game, Leeds, this was pretty rudimentary for Arsenal. They dominated for majority of the game. They scored their 5 goals. If you look at the average positioning of the team, this was Arsenal's position. Look how the backline has moved forward in comparison to the United game. In comparison, look at Leeds. Their entire team was camped in their own half for the majority of the possession. And then if you go into the stats, you'll see 2.88 xG to Leeds 0.17, 3 big chances created, none for them, 18 shots in total. And this is the attack map as well, so you can get an idea about who was dominating in which part of the field. And you can see Leeds hardly bothered Arsenal in the final third. Then we go to the third game, that's Liverpool. Now, this was a pretty even game in my opinion. If you look at the attack momentum as well, Arsenal had good spells in the first half. Liverpool dominated for majority of the second, and they got their goal right at the end. And if you look at the average positioning as well, this is fairly similar. Again, like the Man United game, it's like a situation where the midfields are cancelling each other out. And it was just a moment of individual brilliance that decided the game. And I have to give props to Dominic Soboslai and Liverpool for that. Any goalkeeper would have been flummoxed by that. If you look at the XG, again, almost identical. Shots on target also near or thereabout. Goalkeeper saves also close. And this is the attack map as well. So you can see that. In hindsight, I will say I think I was disappointed with Arsenal not giving it a better go at Liverpool. I mean, having seen all the other teams going there, I've seen United win at Anfield, I've seen Crystal Palace win at Anfield in the League Cup. So I think Arsenal could have shown a bit more ambition on the night. But it is what it is. We can only learn from this. Then you go to the next game. Arsenal versus Nottingham Forest. Now again, I don't put a lot of stock into this game honestly because this was I think the first game for Forest after the sacking of Nuno Espirito Santo and Evangelos Marinakis had just brought in Ange Postecoglou, and this was his first game. And you can honestly see that in the way the team lined up as well. I mean, look at them; they were all over the gap. This is Nottingham Forest's average positioning for the game. In comparison, this is Arsenal. Again, see how high up we are. This is the defensive line, and everybody else is forward. If we go to the stats, you can see that we totally dominated on XG as well. As far as the attack momentum goes, it's mostly Arsenal. Nottingham did have these 2 spells on either side of the halftime whistle, but again, nothing to write home about. And you can see no big chances created, hardly any work for David Raya to do, 1 save only. So that was pretty basic. We then move into the first Champions League game of the season. Now, this was against Athletic Bilbao, semi-finalists in the Europa League last season. Arsenal had also played them in a pre-season friendly in the Emirates Cup just a month or two prior to this. And again, this was pretty basic. You can see Arsenal went to the San Mamés and just dominated the play. Apart from this spell, there was nothing that athletic club could speak about, to be honest. The expected goals also look at that, 0.35 to 1.28. So not even a comparison here. Big chances created, 3. 11 shots, same. Their keeper made 4 saves. And you can just see that Arsenal are dominating teams with relative ease as the season progresses. This is Arsenal's attack average positioning as well. So you can see this is where they are. And this is Athletics' average possession. You can see how they were all clustered up in the middle and trying to make it difficult for Arsenal to find channels to go through. We then move on to the Man City game. Now, this was one of the games again where I felt that Arsenal actually turned over a new leaf rather. So if you look at the attack momentum, Arsenal had majority of it. City's goal comes against the run of play on a counter attack, and Erling Haaland is being Erling Haaland. We can't say anything about that other than give him his stars. He absolutely crazy goal he scored, just running through the midfield. And then if you look at the average positioning, this is what is the most revealing, in my opinion. So this is Arsenal's average positioning. Look at where Arsenal's defenders are and where the players are. Now compare that to Man City. Look at that. This is how Man City were. This is Erling Haaland. This was his average position for most of the game. In fact, Pep even subbed him off, I think, on around the 70th or 75th minute, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 76th minute, so that he could try and shut up shop and play for a 1-0 win. So the fact that a team like Man City, with the players that they have and with a manager like Pep Guardiola, chose to play a pragmatic tactic as opposed to going all guns blazing, because I have seen City roll Arsenal over in the past. So it's no surprise. If you look at the XG, it's 0.89 to 0.87, near identical, same amount of big chances created. City were far more clinical, I'll say. They had 5 shots, but with that 5 shots, they managed to amass almost identical XG in comparison to Arsenal, who had 12 shots on target. Same number of goalkeeper saves as well. And then when you look at the attack map momentum as well, look at that. There you go. So this is City targeting Arsenal on this side of the field, and they hardly had anything to do in the final third in Arsenal's pitch. That should tell you exactly who's being defensive and who's actually trying to go for the ball, or the game rather, out here. We go to the Port Vale game again. This was just a League Cup game, and Arsenal bossed it throughout. Look at the XG as well, more XG. Again, nothing to write home about, but then it wasn't the first team playing. This is the attack map for Port Vale. This is the attack map for Arsenal. And if you go here, you'll also get an idea for the average position as well. This is Arsenal's average position, and this is Port Vale's average position. Now, Newcastle. This is a game a lot of rivals were praying and hoping that Arsenal would drop points in. They see Newcastle as a bogey team, a banana peel for Arsenal whenever they are trying to go for the title. And it has been the case. Newcastle have had our number in the past. They beat us, I think, 3 times last season. So again, I was a bit worried going up there to St James's Park. It's never an easy place to go and play a game of football. But if you look at the attack momentum, look at this. This is Arsenal away from home at St James's Park. Completely bossed it. Possession, bossed. XG, 2.4 to 0.61. 4 big chances created, 20 total shots. Their goalkeeper made 5 massive saves. In fact, I feel Nick Pope would have been man of the match had he not messed up at the end and quickly distributed the ball only for him to lose possession, and subsequently Arsenal win the corner and Gabriel scores the winner. But if you see the average positioning for that game as well, now that will give you an idea. Look at that. This is where Arsenal's backline is, and this is where Newcastle's backline is, and this is their average position. Every team Arsenal have come up against have tried to cluster in the middle and just defend for their lives. And then somehow Arsenal get the bad rap for trying to find a way through a set piece or something like that. But then what are Arsenal expected to do when they are just shutting up shop week in, week out? Nobody wants to play against Arsenal. That's the fact of the matter. But people don't want to accept that. We saw that with the City game. We saw that with this Newcastle game. We'll go forward. You'll see it some more as well. Now you go to the Olympiacos game. This is Arsenal's second Champions League game. At first Champions League game at home for the season. Totally dominated the play, barring this and these two spots in the middle. 2.90 XG to 0.50. 7 big chances created, 16 total shots. Their keeper made 2 saves. And if you go to the lineup, this is the average position. Once again, look at how Olympiacos lined up, and they weren't even able to get past our defense, to be honest. When you look at the map as well, this is Arsenal's map. Now look at Olympiacos' map. Absolutely nothing here. They had some joy down the flank here, but apart from that, nothing. Majority of their play is concentrated in the midfield. That should tell you everything. And then we go to the West Ham game. Now this was the last game before the October international break, if I'm not mistaken, right? And again, West Ham totally outclassed by Arsenal in this game. Look at the attack momentum. Just nothing to write home about for West Ham. And this is, I think, Nuno Espirito Santo in charge for them. So I can understand that maybe they weren't at their best because it's a new manager and they're trying to figure things out. Fair enough. But we can only beat who we are playing on the day, right? So we can only beat who's in front of us. XG 2.77 for Arsenal to 0.49. Four big chances created for Arsenal, 21 shots in total. Their keeper made three saves. Arsenal's keeper had to make zero saves. So no shots on target for West Ham. Then if we go to the average positioning for the game, there you go. Look at how deep West Ham were. This is how West Ham set up on average. And this is Arsenal. Now, once again, see the defensive line where they are. They're not camped in their own half either, like some people and rivals and haters would want you to believe. But it is what it is, right? And there we go. To the next game. This is the Fulham game. This is the first game after the international break. So once again, if you go into the stats, 0.44 xG for Fulham, 1.87 for Arsenal, 16 total shots for Arsenal, three big chances created, none for Fulham, nine shots in total, four goalkeeper saves by Bernd Leno in the Fulham goal. Attack momentum as well. Arsenal totally bossed it, barring these spells early on. But once Arsenal got a foothold in the game, they didn't let go. If you look at the attack map as well, this is this is Fulham's attack map. You can see them attacking this side. Hardly bothered David Raya and the Arsenal backline here. And in comparison, this is Arsenal. Right. And then we go to the Atletico Madrid game. Now, this was another game where I saw a lot of chatter on social media and online, especially people like Jamie O'Hara and stuff like that on Sky Sports and Top Sport, where they were uh, trying to deride Mikel Arteta, calling him a mediocre manager, not world class yet, can't be qualified to be in the top 10 or something like that. And they were also comparing him to somebody like Diego Simeone. Now, I'll be honest, I think Diego Simeone is an amazing manager. His legacy in the game is brilliant. The fact that he's been able to achieve what he's achieved in La Liga with a team like Atletico Madrid, when you're going up against what would probably be the generational Real Madrid and Barcelona teams of the last 20, 30 years, easily, it's something that you need to applaud and doff your hat to. So I'm not taking any of the flowers away from Diego Simeone. However, this is not the 2014 La Liga winner Simeone or the 2021 La Liga winner Simeone or the two Champions League finals where they just narrowly got picked out by Real Madrid type of Simeone either. This is modern day 2025 Diego Simeone and Atletico Madrid. And Arsenal just wiped the floor with them. If you look at this game, this and the Leeds game are the only two games where an opponent actually tried to open up and come out and play against Arsenal, and they got absolutely rogered for that. Arsenal had majority of the attack momentum here, if you can see. They once they started scoring, they scored the first goal, then Atletico tried to come out and play a little bit more, and that was their biggest mistake. And there you can see Arsenal just went and pummeled them. Four goals in like 13 or 14 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. If you go to the statistics, 2.19 xG to 0.67, six big chances created to their one, 19 total shots. Their goalkeeper made four saves, so it could have easily been a much more humiliating scoreline had Jan Oblak not been on form. And then if you go back to the lineup section and just see the average positioning once again, look at this is Arsenal's defense. This is where their average position is, and look at Atletico Madrid camped in their own half. Julian Alvarez is the furthest forward, right on the precipice of his own center half circle. So what does that tell you? Are Arsenal the ones actually being defensive and just camping and allowing another team to lay siege to their goal? No, it's not. But the media would die if they had to accept that. That's the problem. Then we go to the Crystal Palace game. This was the most recent Premier League game prior to the Burnley game, which is due to happen today, at the time of recording, that is. So 0.92 xG to 0.45, two big chances created, none for them, 10 shots. The goalkeeper apparently made one save, and I think it was this one. They said Nketiah apparently got a header on target or something like that. But I've seen the replays, it looks like a claim from David Raya. But again, I don't know. Maybe the bookies just wanted to give somebody a shot on target against Arsenal, so they did it. If you look at the attack momentum, Arsenal dominating thoroughly, apart from this end. If you look at the average positioning, look at that. This is how they're lined up. They have John Philippe Mateta as the lone outlet for any counter attack if they want, and Jeremy Pino here. But look at how deep they were and how compact they've been trying to do. Now, if you see, this is the pattern that I was talking about. Every team has done this against Arsenal this season. And this is the most recent game that Arsenal played. This was in the League Cup against Brighton. And if I'm not mistaken, I think this is the game with the most XG conceded by Arsenal since the Man United game, right here. So 1.52 was Man United's XG. And Brighton managed to get an XG of 1.41. I'll be honest, I think Brighton were massively unlucky to not go into the break with a goal or a lead. They had really good chances, but they weren't able to capitalize on them. And Arsenal, to be fair to them, managed to turn things around in the second half. And once they got a goal, I think it was a wrap. So that's where we are at. And you can see the attack map as well. Arsenal, Brighton, and if you just go to average positioning, once again, you can see where everyone is lined up, and you can see Arsenal. Now, in all the games I've just shown you so far, we are, what, 18 minutes or something into the video. You can see that Arsenal haven't been camped out in their own half playing like that either. And they get this bad rap ever since this game, the 2-2 draw at the Etihad last season, where City were dominating, no lying in that. But then Arsenal managed to score 2 goals, and then right after that, there was a red card to Leandro Trossard, and then Arteta just decided that he's going to play for the win and not try and attack anymore. He's just going to defend and hopefully save the win, save the lead that they have, and go on with that. And it didn't work. John Stones scored in the 90th, 90 plus 8 minutes. Yeah, and it is what it is. But then I have seen Arsenal do this with a man down, trying to protect a 2-1 lead at the home of the then champions. But then you compare that to this, where this is Man City, a full complement Man City side. They have 11 players, and yet they choose to do this. So that should tell you what it's like right now for Arsenal when they come up against a big team, a small team, irrespective of who it is. Now, I personally feel that the media don't want to accept that because over the years, Arsenal have been the whipping boys, and it's been easy to hate on them. They were pretty successful in the early noughties, thanks to Arsene Wenger and the double, and then subsequently winning the Invincible as well, and then a couple of FA Cups after that. But then what's happened since then is that because Arsenal moved to the Emirates with this hope and ambition that it's going to lead to bigger and better things, and those things didn't come, and subsequently they fell into this rot where they were losing their key players, they were getting pummeled by big teams in the big occasions and stuff like that. It became sort of the norm to laugh at Arsenal, and rightfully so. Arsenal were in the mud back then, and this culminated with the banter era where Wenger finally leaves after his form drops massively, and then we get Unai Emery, and even that's a catastrophe for us. And then subsequently you get Mikel Arteta, who comes and starts building the place from ground up again. Right now, somehow I feel the media can't wrap their heads around the fact that Mikel Arteta's managed to turn Arsenal from a joke team into actually serious contenders. They're not winners yet, but if you see every other metric, they are performing at that same level as a winning team will, or winning team should. I have been derided by fans who are from Chelsea or from United, talking about how they managed to pick up more silverware in these last 5 years when Arteta has been laying the groundwork for his project. And that's a fair critique to label against him and Arsenal. Absolutely, I think trophies are the be all and end all. But then at the same time, I also have to laud the fact that he's made us a consistent team. Just 5 years after we were a laughing stock, we weren't even also rans. We were like never was for a long time. And he's managed to change that. He's managed to instill this newfound sense of belief in the team and also in the rivals, because I see the way rivals play against us. 2-3 seasons ago, I would see much more open play against Arsenal because people didn't think that we can roll them over that easily. But now, no matter which team comes, whether it's Leeds United or Man City, I see them trying to just be compact against us, try to make sure that they don't make any errors, and that tells you that Arsenal are a serious team now. And the rivals and the mainstream media have to accept that. Instead, what are they doing? They are doing things like this. This is Ryan O'Hanlon. He writes for the ESPN. Ryan, I don't know if you're watching this or not, if you're hearing this or not. I hope this finds you some way, somehow, just so that I can tell you you're a fraud, mate. You're an absolute fraud for your opinions because you can't keep the same energy to save your life. And that's just what it is. This is Ryan O'Hanlon came out with this article just a week or 10 days ago, where he's talking about how set pieces are ruining the Premier League and helping us. Fair. If you want to believe that, that's fair. The same person wrote this article 6 years ago. The secret to Liverpool's success 2018-19. Why being good at set pieces can win you trophies. So right there, that tells me that you don't care about the fact that Arsenal are doing it. You are worried about the fact that, yeah, right there it tells me that you don't care about set pieces ruining the game. You're just worried about the fact that Arsenal are doing. And if you can't keep your bias in check when you're reporting, then you shouldn't be reporting. You shouldn't be reporting for mainstream news sites. You should just go run your own fan blog or something like that. That's how I feel. So Ryan O'Hanlon, just want you to know. Maybe you won't hear this, but maybe you will. I'm pretty sure the whole world's been telling you this for a long time as well. You're a fucking fraud, man. Absolute fraud. And that's where we're at. Now, personally, I think the media just can't accept the fact that Arsenal is good right now. And I think they're worried because the moment Mikel Arteta wins one of the majors, they're not going to have that whipping boy around anymore. They're not going to be able to make those same jokes about Arsenal without a Premier League in over 2 decades, or Arsenal with no European heritage and this, that, and the other. I mean, I saw how everybody was quaking in their boots when we got to the semi-final last year of the Champions League, and everybody was actually worried that it could be a possibility. I still believe that had it not been for Gianluigi Donnarumma in the PSG goal, Arsenal could have been in the final, and I think Arsenal could have beaten that Inter Milan team as well. Even though we did lose to them earlier in the season, I feel that at that point in time, had those two teams met, I think I would have put money on Arsenal to win. But that's where we're at. Let me know what you guys think, guys. And don't forget to keep your powder dry. It's just November, so the season is still long. There's a lot that can happen, a lot that can change. But as things stand, Arsenal are looking good. Arsenal are looking solid. The set pieces do feel sustainable enough. Everybody keeps saying the set pieces are not going to be sustainable, but I think Arsenal have shown that for over 18 months now that they can make it sustainable. It just depends on the players who are available on the pitch. I mean, hypothetically, if there is an issue with Gabriel not being on the pitch, or Declan Rice not being there, or Saka not being there, right there the set piece threat goes away. So I would want other people in the team also to be ready to be able to take set pieces or deliver balls into the box to that standard and level. But as things stand right now, I'm not worried, to be honest. And there's also this messed up narrative that the mainstream media has, which this Twitter handle has been dispelling. So, Hand of Arsenal, he's been calling them out. I already showed you the Ryan O'Hanlon articles that he mentioned, and I mean, you can see there's community notes on X as well on that. So that should just tell you everything. Ryan, if you're watching this, you're an absolute fraud, mate. Absolute fraud. Take a spoon of water and drown yourself in it. Meanwhile, you have Ian Doyle as well. He put out this tweet ahead of the Carabao Cup press con, where he said that Mikel Arteta apparently claimed to have invented the importance of set pieces. English team managers from the 1980s would like to have a word. Arteta revealed that 10 years ago he started thinking about the importance of set piece goals in football, and he is not convinced that these goals will derive from set pieces. I don't see football like open play and set pieces. I see the game in a different way. We have given that part of the game the importance it deserves. We have to maximize things. We have to be effective. And this was twisted by this Ian Doyle individual as Arteta saying that he's basically discovered the art of set pieces, which he didn't say, and which isn't true. But then this is the same Ian Doyle who writes for the Liverpool Echo, so again, we're not surprised, where he goes and says Ian Doyle praised Klopp for bringing more focus to set pieces and maximizing the Reds' threat before assessing this as a victory for the Germans' ingenuity. In recent years, Jurgen Klopp and his coaching staff have drummed home to their players the importance of dead ball situations, the organizational and tactical aspect of setting up such plays, utilizing one of the many strengths of the Liverpool boss. So this is a classic case of if Klopp does it, it's flirting, but if Arteta does it, it's harassment, right? And there are so many such instances. I mean, there was an instance about Jamie Carragher saying that Arsenal are killing the game with set pieces and everything, and then at the same time, he's going to go on and praise Chelsea and Conte for being so adept at set pieces and saying that they can actually win something if their set pieces are always on point the way they are, and they subsequently did win. So I'm just done with this sort of narrative and rhetoric. I mean, Jamie Carragher, Jamie O'Hara, everybody on Talksport more often than not, they just, I think they're in the rage bait business over the journalism business because that's what they want to do. But it's fine. If you're an Arsenal fan watching this, hearing this, please don't pay any heed to these people. Don't give them even a second of your time because they don't deserve it. They're not worth it. If you want to hear it out just so that you can laugh in their face, do that. but don't take them seriously, because even they themselves can't take themselves seriously. They can't even look at themselves in the mirror and take themselves seriously. So I don't know how they're expecting the whole world to take them seriously. And that's where we're at. But it's fine. We're going to get there. I have a feeling that this is the season. A lot of these people who are going to talk about BS will ultimately, eat crow, because they know that it's coming. It is coming. But that's been it, guys. I hope you all enjoyed this breakdown in the video. I've purposely not put my camera on for this because I'm still trying to get that figured out. I think it's better off when I'm not on camera. I'm also trying to reduce the length of the videos because I've noticed that sometimes I tend to meander a bit too long. If you like my work, please consider liking the video, sharing it with anybody who you think might like it or might enjoy it, or even share it with a hater who's got their head stuck up their backside so that they can see the light for once. Please consider following my channel if you want. Subscribe. You can find me on IG as well, the same handle, Football by Rob. I make memes over there. I'll also be leaving a link for the t-shirts and artworks that I make right at the end. I hope you can consider checking them out. Every little bit helps. And yeah, thank you so much, guys. Have a nice one. Take care. See you. See you, YG.